Hello and welcome to Tower. Someone asked me the other day about when I was going to do something with my Kyosho Progress car and a half, and I guess today's the day. Now, if you've looked at any of my other videos, you know I've got these Progress to work on, I've got the Javelin to work on, and I've got a Toms to build up. So I figured it might be quite nice to do that as a series, working through them, to add in, start from these Progress, show you a bit of the oldest of the Kyoshos I've got, and we can see how Kyosho turned about and quite radically changed to the Javelin and Optima cars, and then we'll go to the Toms as a future build for the full extent of where they took that particular line. We're going to get one of these running, have it a little bash around the garden, show you a bit about the four-wheel steering. One of them might run four-wheel drive depending on what the state of the gearbox is like, but we're going to take it quite steady. I'm not going to strip them down and rebuild them up to be able to test them. I just want to be able to plug a modern receiver in, see what the servos are like, see whether we need to put some replacement servos in, see what the motor is like, see whether we need a replacement motor. The tyres on them are super old, so I'm only planning on doing something quite delicate with whichever. But if we can make one run by the end of the video, then we're in a good place. So let's start by getting the bodies off. This one, I can tell by the weight of it, is my better condition half car. So this is the one we'll plan on not particularly doing anything with today, but it might give us some parts that we need if we need to get the other one running. I know there was a lovely Tonic RC video for his 1/12 on-road car where he actually got the old ESC up and running. I really don't plan on doing that today. We'll go modern receiver, modern ESC, brushed motor, and see if we can get one of these to turn a wheel. Okay, let's move that one out of the way and take a look at the more beaten up one, but the one that is, sorry about the noise, but is more complete. So, what do I want to show you from here? I want to show you the four-wheel steering. In actual fact, if I put it something like that, it's an old car. We've got servos, we've got receivers, we've got the speed controller here. So the speed controller does speed controlling things. Yeah, you're on a servo arm, and it moves this around and picks up between the forward and backwards locations. Wires here going to a very old motor. Drives the gearbox, drives the wheel. So these are this one has got all its drive shafts in place. It's somewhat stiff. I think this one might be loose and not have a hex connected there. It's going to be exciting. We'll check that in a moment. But you can see if I turn the front wheels, we get at least 3 of those wheels going around. This is the car I want to try and make run today. So chain drive, lovely old Kyosho chain drive. We've got something catching as we go through there, so we'll have a little look at what that might be. I don't want to give too much power through it if we've got things catching, but hopefully we can make something run. Excellent. So the one thing to have a look at here is the four-wheel steering. You see we've got a servo horn on here, which has got 2 rods connected to it. So what you'd normally have running to the front of the car here is a servo for the front end, the steering arm for the front end, and so a servo saver just underneath this screw here. But you see it's got this second arm running through the back to this second lever, and I haven't tried turning the servo, so it's exciting for me as it is for you. And you see if we turn that, we get the front wheels turning only very slightly, but we also get the rear wheels going in the opposite direction. And we just move so you get both in shot. So you can see the arm at the back here moving, and you can see the front wheels and the rears going opposite direction to the fronts. I do have the manuals for these available from Dirt Burners, was where I got it from. And it's an excellent resource. I'll make sure I put a link in the description. So I can work through and make sure this was built correctly to begin with. I have no reason to suspect it wasn't built correctly. I am surprised a little bit about the overall lack of travel of the steering, but until we get it out and run it, we won't know how normal that is. We'll go wheels off. I do know on a Kyosho Progress, it's a bit like the old Yokomo. It's an E-clip holding the front wheels on, so that's going to hold us back a little bit. But it's this rear that's more problematic for us at the moment. So, of course, they're not hex hubs. I was going to say the hex hub on the rear here I like they are on an Optima where they're just friction held on. I fully expect these are friction held on, but actually they're not even hexes. They are literally knurled spacers, and the wheel just runs purely against that knurling. So not surprising that the other side might have been slipping somewhat, if there's that much ability for there to be play present. So what's going on? Tyres loose on the wheel, that's okay. The wheel itself feels fine and solid enough. I think the other wheel was the same. Yep. So feels fine. You can see here we're vastly more worn down, but that's okay. And in terms of the drive shaft, we're definitely not missing a pin. Yeah, it's the same as the original Optima, where you just have this angled drive shaft, and the inside edge of this is angled too, and literally it's friction that holds that onto the drive shaft. So you run enough power through there, and that slips like you would expect, I guess. So hopefully, if I turn the front end now, the drive shaft at least turns. It does. And the reason we're not seeing the opposite side, why are we not seeing the opposite front wheel move? There should be no diff in the front of a Kyosho Progress. There should be just a solid axle across the front here. So for what reason? Oh, I know why. So we're looking in the front here. You can see way across. Let me make sure I get this actually in shot. So take my thumb out of the way. You can see the drive shaft here and the drive cup. And when I roll the other wheel forward, you can see that moves. And of course it moves because they are connected. There is no diff between these two, and it moves. So I'm moving the left wheel forwards, and so the right wheel moves forward too. That's an okay shot. Fine, good. So why is the wheel not going round? The wheel's not going round because the wheel is on a one-way bearing. So if I move the other wheel round, we'll see the drive shaft move round. We'll see the chain in the middle move round. I'll grab the wheel enough. There you go. So that's all working, but it's about the one-way bearing on the front. I would imagine if I take the front right wheel and move it backwards, then that's the bearing doing its bearing thing. That's why we get no drive pass through from there, but we get drive when we pull this wheel forwards. So that's all working reasonably happily. Good. Let's strip some more bits. Let's cut out this zip tie, find out where these servos are connected, and see if we can connect them into a new receiver. Pull the battery. I've got charging up behind me, and see if we can connect these up and see if we can control some things. So I'm getting the receiver out. I also know we have along here, these are torsion bars that actually set the ride height for the front. So it's got a monoshock spring here at the front, but actually these torsion bars are important for setting the overall per axle loading and to set that appropriately. So if you see it sat wonkily anywhere, that will be why. Those torsion bars aren't appropriately configured yet. I wonder what we've got as a receiver. It's probably an Acroms, but I guess it could be a Futaba. Oh, it's a Sanwa. Look at this beauty. Right. Got to be a 27 megahertz, surely. But let's have a look. The 27 megahertz receiver in there. Look. So 1 to turn. That is the steering servo. Modern Fly Sky receiver. My go-to. Let me move. There you go. Fly Sky receiver. I happen to recall. You can probably see on there. Black is this edge. So let's get. I'm presuming red is not black. That would be the way for our design such a thing. Let's put that there. I'll probably find that red is black, and I've got it wrong. But this one here must be the switch because it's got 2 cables, and this one must be the ESC because it wasn't the steering light. But so I'm back with, I would say it's a Hobbywing. It's a Carson from a Tamiya kit, but it's a little, it's the same as a Hobbywing 1060. So we will use that one because I've got more confidence in that being somewhat reliable. We'll see whether we can get the existing motor up and running. I do have a regular silver can here. You probably tell me where I've stolen it from based off the pinion, but I can't immediately tell you. I'll plug a battery in, and we'll check whether the steering servo is doing steering things, and if so, we'll hook the motor up and see whether we can get some amount of drive through it. Do we have power going to a servo or not? Let's see. No, we don't. There is nothing going to servo there at all. Annoying. Okay, so that's probably the case that the servo is dead. So I think we can declare those servos to be dead. They're held in by zip ties at the moment. I'm going to just remove both of those servos and grab a fresh servo and hook it up, preferably using this same horn, but see where we get it out. So let's try again. Are we connected? We are. So that's the steering working like it's supposed to be working. You can kind of see the rear wheel there just moving in and around us. Good. My plan is to swap this motor. I have very little confidence it'll be happy and functional, etc. So my plan is to pull the cover from here, swap the motor, and I've got a regular silver can I showed earlier, so we'll swap a silver can in, and then that should be enough to make it powered. Now, with the state of the wheels, I don't want to particularly drive it very far. I think we'd need some amount of maintenance on those. The other car has got vastly better condition wheels and tyres. They still do need work on them. At the point I'm using this as an actual runner, and I'm sorry to everyone who's hoping otherwise, but it will be raced somewhat. Good, hopefully this is all sound. It seems to be. The chain is super loose, you can see on the top here. There's a lot of flex there in that chain. This gearbox plate is carrying all of these gears. The modern day being straight to a large single spur, whereas this clearly is multiple extra stages. All of this gearbox here actually looks in reasonably good condition. Now, I don't know what it looks like internally. I do know the diff internally is apparently, I don't say problematic, I should say problematic. The diff is problematic. I do like how Tamiya are almost arbitrary with their colours. Green and blue seem to be interchangeable. Yellow is yellow. So when you connect up a Tamiya, just connect up. If there are two the same, go with them. Sometimes you've got to do red to black to yellow and blue. And I think in that case, black and blue both begin with blah, so go with that. And you probably tell me I'm wrong. Good. That motor is working. I didn't want to have to be putting a broken motor straight into a car. That would be a disaster. Spend all my time putting it in and then find out that there was a reason it wasn't in some other car in the first place. I know the guidance for setting mesh is, see if you can run a thin piece of paper between the teeth of the gears. That does work. If you don't know what you're comfortable setting mesh, do so. Once you've done it a few times, you can see what it is and feel the backlash to know whether it's any good. Right, let us gently run that motor in place and breathe life. Let's hook it up and see what happens with the gearbox. Let's just see. So I can see this axle is rotating, axle over there is rotating, front wheel is happily going around. There is no tension in the chain here. That's definitely a thing to adjust. And I can tell that there is nothing going on with this front wheel. So I assume the bearing on the front left wheel here is completely toast. So my prior analysis is wrong. I think we can take that wheel off and grab one from the other car. So I'm expecting, at least if I put this one on, even independently of the E-clip. Oh yeah. Yeah, oh, absolutely. So it is the roller bearing. I feel this tension immediately as soon as I rotate it the opposite direction. And the other one just did not do that on the axle at all. So I think reasonably confident that is going to be the solution. Let's get E-clip on. We can pick and choose as we go about which is the best tyres for this initially, but I mostly care about something that is functional. Oh, instantly loosened up again, isn't it? It is very, very loose on its axle, but it does feel like it's got drive. So we do the same on the other side. We've retained the spacer on this side that stayed in place. So I think realistically the rear hubs are going to come from the other car. The inside edge of the tyre fits inside a groove, but it's a horizontal groove on the wheel. So I believe you kind of feed the entire thing in through from the rear and then glue it on the front edge. I will go and check the manual to make sure that that's actually the case, but I believe it to be the case, and it certainly feels like it as I've just reseated this one. So that's reseated. If we drive it hard, it'll fall apart because there's nothing keeping the tyre in place. But we're not about to drive it hard. If we're bringing it back at all, we're doing it a favour. So I should, if I'm being kind to the car, for grabbing hold of these axles, at least wrap the axle in tissue of some description. I think with the Kyosho Riris, it's probably highly likely I can swap this out to a pin and hex kind of solution, especially if I run it with more modern wheels on. But the roller bearing on the front there is definitely doing its job. That's quite a nice condition bearing then, isn't it? It drives okay and its three wheels okay. The front left is definitely not doing that. We've definitely got a drive problem here on the rear left. So let's pull those from the parts car and go with that. And if we look at the parts car, we can see its drives here are vastly newer, vastly more better condition. And so I'm pretty confident that will grip on there much better. It certainly grips the wheel better. I think the problem on the worn one is that it can't grip the drive shaft itself. So hopefully we've got a bit more. This feels vastly better. I said I was going to run this in vintage racing, and that is my plan. The one thing to be aware of in that regard is because it doesn't have a diff in the front, I do want to run it with roller bearings, and that was going to cause me some amount of problem. But the good news for that is Kyosho Yukimo re-released their 834B. And that, if anyone's aware, also runs roller bearings on the front wheels. And so, in theory, I can get reasonably modern 834 compatible roller bearing front wheels and use them on this. So therefore have the front wheel behaviour that we are looking for, and still be true to its origins. I think they may fit on the same axles. I think they were going to fit on the same axles. If not, I can get kind of converters and things to do something there, or run, worst case run, I guess, from the Yokomo hubs themselves, and that might probably cause me more trouble. But yeah, there are options. There are options in that space. So, and again, as soon as I put this one on, it's just way tighter, way better fit, and so that just reinforces what I'd said originally, which is, as much as anything, we probably wanted to get all the parts possible from the parts car, and just supplement it where we're missing them with parts that we're getting from this one. I'm not sold on that particular E-clip being good, but we now have a selection of them, so we should be covered. Right. Once more, let's just see if we have sensible drive on all of them, and if so, we're going to have a little poodle around it. So steering is working. Throttle. Oh, look. And those are definitely one ways. Good. Now, if I was being sensible, of course, I would do more to make this safe before I run it. But who needs safe? We need a running video, yes? Pop the body shell on. I'm going to use the silver one, because the silver one is the car that this is predominantly from. So let's do that. Let's give it a bit of a run and see what happens. So here we are with a phone mounted on my transmitter so that we can actually have a bit of a more mobile view of what we're doing. Still turned on. The power switch is nowhere accessible at the moment whilst the body's on it. So let's just get it outside, give it a run around, see if I can get you some closer shots. I'm not doing action shots today. So from up here, as a driver drives. It's me being very delicate on the throttle because this is old and it needs some work doing to it. But I'm willing to bet this car hasn't been driven in some period of time. And we've definitely got an alive buggy. Battery cable's dragging in. We lost the one-way tower already. Oh, that'll be that E-clip. Well, there was some life to it at least. Just a thick wrap. Back wheel's undone. Front wheel. We lost that E-clip. The one that I said was loose. Let's just put it back on. Right, so where did we get to? We got a really old, really beaten up car, and we took a really old, less beaten up bits of a parts car. We took some modern electrics, mushed it together, stuck a battery in it and ran it around the garden. The motor got plenty hot. It's a 540 motor and it got plenty hot. There is an awful lot of grease and grime, etc. going on in the drivetrain. The next thing for this car is really pulling it all apart, picking and choosing all of those parts we've got between this one and the half parts car. But I'm pretty confident we've got something here that works and will run and give us something we can make use of. So hopefully we can combine what's left here into one good car and then go take it racing. There's a lot of work to do. Really wants to come all the way apart, clean it up, and think about what happens with the body. The choices we could go with the white body. Generally, it's okay. It's more than okay, quite frankly. But it might be nice to do my own custom paint on it. But yes, hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and there's definitely more to come out of this one.